What did you think of particularly the portrayal of the Aga? What did you think of the? What did you? Let's call them what
the Dora Milaje. Should we just call them that since you know how to pronounce it?
Because that was something that actually been.
And that's why all of this is just it's a lot of it's mixed to put it kind. It's been mixed reception wise. Like
to be woke is to be aware of what is around you. The sufferings of others are included in that. How your actions affect other people are included in being woke. We got we got grandma over here undercutting the parents. That's what we got.
Grandma was sitting down hitting the fucking. She was chilling on the
left, man. She was in a good mood.
Grandma was. That's basically, isn't that how grandparents are history? Like, they ain't my kids. Let me be wild.
But it also has given places where we can actually utilize it for journalism. We can use it for protest. We can use it to be able to get ideas to kind of coagulate a little bit better. I can't stay away from you too long.
Can't tell me. You know what I'm about to do, dog. For real. I'm about to just go get a guitar, learn how to play, and I'm just gonna sit here when somebody says some stuff. I'm gonna play the song to it.
Bruh, I was listening to Anthony Hamilton before this we got on this motherfucker, and just listening to that man sing the point of it all makes a nigga won't cry. I ain't gonna lie. That is a man that can sing, but it's ugly as fuck at the same time.
Let's hear your best Anthony Hamilton, the point of it all.
Oh, bruh, my Anthony Hamilton comes off as if I'm Al Green. So like if you ever listen to Al Green, if I gave you my love, I show you what I do. See, now I can't harmonize it now that I'm on the spot. But if you listen to
this and the point of it all, it's up in the front.
I love you.
Right.
You gotta have
love you.
I love you. It's like just right there in that bottom part of your throat.
In the nose. I think it's in the nose, not the bottom.
You think it's in the nose? I don't think it's in the nose. I think
he got a cool nose muscle in the back of his throat that's flapping in a very pleasant manner. And I think mine is too large to do that.
I feel like Al Green is the top of your tonsils and about a little bit of your nose. Like
that's what Anthony Hamilton is.
Yeah, I feel like Anthony Hamilton is like a little bit more bassier, so it's
he pushes it out from the,
It's 2 a.m. I'm just getting in. I'm about to check my message. No one's called, bro. Like that.
He's all up in the
cellular.
Means somebody
That's a dope
wants
ass.
to borrow money. I two-way her. She don't hit me back. Something is funny.
Bro.
So I'll call up.
Bro,
man.
I two-way her. Bro, it is funny because I think he used auto-tune as well, so it doesn't sound good.
Now I think y'all better leave this place.
Man, did you
because I'm about to catch a case.
You're contagious. Touch
me, baby. Give me what you got.
Oh, when I heard him say up there,
sexy lady, you drive me crazy.
Drive me wild.
See, like that.
I can't believe this shit.
Okay, all right, bro. But with that,
shut up,
man. That's cut. I tell you what, it's a terrible song. It's one of them songs like you don't want to sing to a song like that. But it just
it's so
like
messy.
Ron Eyes is just so melodic. You just like, ooh, because I'm about to catch a case.
Bro, they had kids.
That is some thug shit to say.
I'm about to say, I was in middle school, I think, when this song came out, and my God, when we were on field trips and we were trying to figure out songs to sing because the radio wasn't working, you're contagious. Bump,
Had you
bump,
questioning
bump.
yourself as a
Touch me,
man?
baby.
Should I
Yeah.
shoot them a breakdown?
Give me what you got.
Yeah. I wonder if that's like how we
Frank,
look at
shut
kids
up.
and we like, can't you see two men
But I
talking?
like how he opened up the second verse.
But I told your ass to get the walking.
See, because we're on
Bruh.
YouTube
Dog,
now,
you gotta have
just
somebody.
pull it up. We need to just pull that mug up and jam out to it. That's what
Oh,
really needs to
it
happen.
has
This
to
is
be off
good.
screen.
But
It
then
has
we
to be
got,
off screen.
but wait. Then we get to Robert's part, and goddamn,
Oh
like
no.
chitlins on a good
Oh yeah.
Thanksgiving plate. Robert,
Never came. He threw her under the bus immediately.
You
He
know
was like,
that
should have
dirty
never came
Just-
home with
woman
this bitch.
got to. Hey,
man
bruh,
did a Magic Johnson no look pass under the bus, just give and go, just no,
man,
did
Threw
not
her
hesitate at
directly.
all.
did not pass. Bro, you know one guilty pleasure, and I'm gonna introduce the show right after this, dog. But one guilty pleasure, that song that gets stuck in my head for some reason, and I'm so mad at Robert for making this fucking song with Sparkle. Is when a woman's fed up, no matter how you beg, oh no, it ain't
Damn.
nothing you can. Bro, that song gets stuck in my head, and I'm like, why? Why is that?
He made so much
also-
good music
Ah,
and was also trafficking people and doing horrible shit. It's just like that.
damn.
Because
So
he
many songs.
sang so well.
He did such a
fooled
fucking
so
good job.
many.
And you know what, man?
He was telling on himself too. Him and Bill Cosby told on themselves a lot.
A lot.
Bill Cosby told on himself directly in that barbecue episode of the Cosby Show where his sauce was getting people all sleepy and shit. And then it was just like, ooh, they want to have sex now. Who would have figured it? Just telling on himself.
And you know the wildest fucking thing about this situation is the fact that like they had a meme, and I think that I believe this meme so true to be true, is they said that like women are all about Quaaludes, Molly, and dropping these drugs in that make them kind of like sleepy. Just Bill Cosby was born in the wrong fucking age. Girls about twerking and shit like that, and doing OnlyFans and shit like that. Bro, you just born in the wrong.
Who figured this was gonna be the show that got us canceled? We advocate. We saying Bill Cosby was born too early.
Fucking thing that came out. That was a wild fucking statement that came out.
Listen,
it's a good thing we ain't sponsored this week.
No, I don't know YouTube. I don't know this clientele, dog. This shit is weird because I had some thoughts, but I don't know how raw you could be out here yet.
Yeah, man. No, go. Be honest. Be honest.
I just think
wild shit on YouTube.
All right, so look, the apparently the Catch Me Outside girl, what is her name now? Bad Bobby or whatever?
Yeah, something like that.
Some shit
like $1 million on OnlyFans. I think it was like her first day or whatever. And I'm just thinking, like, what person be like, hey, dog, I suck Bill Cosby's dick. You're doing it for the real ones. Pay for this OnlyFans. You got to at least clear 50K. At least clear 50K just doing that stunt. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of time to lay out in an apartment and lounge around.
Oh my god.
Bad baby. Good.
Bad baby. Yeah. And you know what's funny? Because she just put out.
I don't know. I thought it was Barbie with like a Boston accent because she talked weird.
I see. I want to say
she's from Florida, so that explains a lot.
Yeah, she's from. But she had put what's his name out there because of the fact that they felt like he was a pedophile because he was trying to holler at her when she was like 16 years old. Not Tekashi.
Fuck. I mean, Tekashi has like actual charges.
Tiger was the Kardashian, right?
I think Tiger was the Kardashian dude. Yeah.
Yep.
It was Tiger.
It was probably him then, huh?
Yeah.
Tiger. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know. But yeah, with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages. Go ahead.
JT, I hate that you brought her up because I had to look her up, and apparently her and Paris Hilton had a song. No, wait. Never mind. It's actually something good. They were going to they were doing some shit for the troubled teen, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
No. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, people who conform to gender norms, and people who say, you know what, fuck that. Pride Month is over with, and I'm going to go wild the fuck out at a Petco and knock out all the Pride shit and tear it up at Target too. Yanni, that's a news reference, by the way. With that, my name is History Williams, and these are the historical voices from the East Side. And over here to that right side, that guy over there, he's our voice of reason. He's our vocal coach. He's our guy who gets our hair clear after we deal with a lot of little problematic shit in the world. So with that, give a round of applause for Jonathan Thompson, aka JT The Voice. Awesome sauce. Now, with that, below us, not even less than us, he's just because he's below us. His name is Jamel, aka the Eastside Reviewer. He's our movie reviewer. He's the guy that gives us all the movies that we need to know about in the modern day age and get us all right before we go decide to say, fuck that. I'm walking out this shit today. Give a round of applause for Jamel, y'all. I'm going to see that in the theater because Jamel said it was okay. Man, we are the Historical Voices Freestyle, man. We talk all things pop and we do a deep dive on the favorite movies that you see out there in the world today. So, JT, Jamel, how was your week so far?
Hey, it was cool. We had that nice day off on Tuesday, so I'm good.
Jamel,
I realized that.
Go ahead.
No, I said I realized that I've gotten older and I fucking hate fireworks now. I hate them. I hate them. Motherfuckers just pop. I hate them. So yeah, I'm glad that holiday is over with, and hopefully. And I also live in a shitty neighborhood, so I play the game of, ooh, is that some fireworks, or
You're good.
is that somebody? Is that some fireworks going off? So yeah, fun times.
Man, I did not love the fucking fireworks, bro. And already the bad thing is I have light sensitivity. So like if you ever noticed that like I'm watching the stream, I'm watching this way. And the reason being is because of the fact that this gives me headaches. I can't see anything. But then also if I wear glasses, I just don't want to seem like I'm fucking Morpheus and you can see everything beyond me because it's reflected everything. It is still the light is just right blinding there. So when I see fireworks, that shit is like a constant headache, bro. I just don't like it. And then also on top of that, when I was in the army, a lot of veterans did not fuck with fireworks. So these people who pop in, I'm doing this because I'm Star Spangled Awesome. Yeah, the veterans that you are supporting, they don't like that shit neither. A lot of them. So yeah, I don't fuck with fireworks, man. I think that you're a fucking fourth grader now at this point in time when you popping fireworks. So what about you, JT?
I love fireworks. You have to remember fireworks are part of America. The bombs bursting in air. So as long as there's America, there will be bombs bursting in air all over the place.
Don't you try to get patriotic with me. Don't you get poetic and patriotic with me. Not today. That shit is childish at this point in time.
It is what it is, bro.
It is childish. It is
so
childish.
What's the latest y'all heard some fireworks? I was at 3:45, somewhere around there.
Something like that. I think they had to pop it a little bit later because of the fact that like apparently it's now against the law to go into July 11th, like past 7 a.m. or something like that. July 11th. So I thought I'm not July 11th, July 4th or 5th. I'm sorry. I don't know why I say 11th. July 5th. But what about you, Jamel?
I fell asleep at like midnight, but they were still going off by the time I laid down. So yeah, I would imagine probably about like 2-3 o'clock is when they stopped. Thankfully.
Fair enough. With that, man, so this has been another boring ass news week, man. I'm starting to feel like we fucking ESPN and
oh, that was something fun that happened.
Yeah,
so many people got laid off from ESPN. And more people are probably going to. So yeah, that's a fun story.
And a lot of people,
but this is the time of the year that you said that with the ESPN ain't nothing going on, just regular ass baseball. Ain't no hockey, ain't no basketball. Football is still, the training camps is still like a month away. Dog, it is dry as hell on the sports scene. They are you see the struggle that they go through for stories on a daily basis.
Yes.
Nigga, they are dragging up who gonna win the Super Dog. We are in July. Why are you talking about the Super Bowl? Like, bro.
Yeah, it's been kind of fucking wild because a lot of the shit that's been going on hasn't really been not only even in sports, man. A lot of this shit has been kind of very much so like other people are saying some wild shit about sports or about another particular issue. But in sports, there was one thing that recently just fucking happened. JT, tell us, how do Britney Spears affect sports today?
Britney Spears was allegedly slapped by trying to go see, what was that celebrity?
The new fucking
She
recruit
tried to
for
go see
San Antonio Spurs.
Victor Wembanyama.
Victor Wembanyama, aka Wemby, aka
Wembanyama.
Le Slim, aka the Big French.
Yeah. Yeah,
Who does he play for?
San Antonio Spurs.
He's gonna play for the San Antonio Spurs, the most boring fucking franchise that's acceptable.
Talk shit about my franchise, homie. We win championships.
Nigga,
we
you
go to playoffs. We go to playoffs and win
my
championships.
nigga, what you are from Louisiana?
Moneyball in the NBA.
Always been a
Dog.
Spurs
That's
fan,
all
man.
that was.
I thought we
Moneyball in the NBA.
Yeah.
We
Wait,
go for,
what?
for
When
points,
did-
guys.
why-
We gotta get the points when we get the ball. That's all they wanted to do.
Yes.
And then people decided we're just going to shoot threes all day and see who can shoot the most threes, and nobody knows how to drive in the lane properly.
Nobody. Not
The
at
respect that I have for you, Jason. You's a Spurs fan. Ugh.
all. Bro, you
I
think I'm gonna
appreciate- I was
respect
watching
you? You
some
a
Ben
fucking
Wallace highlights.
Pistons
Here's the
fan.
thing.
You fucking Pistons right now. Get the fuck out of all the way out of here.
Yeah,
Go
I'm
on.
at least from Detroit. You're from Louisiana. You like, I like the Spurs.
They're better than everywhere else close to here.
That's true. That's a fair point.
That's
Like,
also if
the-
you can't beat them,
the-
join them type shit. That's what
All
it
right.
feels like.
So hold up. When do you think we got the New Orleans Hornets? I'm gonna say New Orleans Hornets. I'm not even gonna say any other team. When do you think we got the New Orleans Hornets? What year?
The
2004.
Charlotte Hornets?
Probably like
New
that
Orleans
late. I
Pelicans?
graduated 2007.
The
almost
reason
done.
why the Charlotte Hornets moved from Charlotte to New Orleans, then they became the Pelicans.
But then they
Team in
resurrected
Charlotte, we
Hornets,
became because they used to be the Charlotte Bobcats. Because Bob Johnson of BET founded the team, and he was like, "Ooh, name them after me." And the team was probably the worst team in the NBA, hilariously. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's little NBA trivia.
So if you think about that in context, I graduated 2007.
And what did
They
this-
pretty much was 2004, 2003, I think. I want to say. Bro, I ain't had no damn team growing up. I had San Antonio Spurs. That was the one of
That's
the better
what you
teams.
catch on the TV, huh?
Yeah, and then also on top of that, I was a big fan of David Robinson and Tim Duncan. You can't tell me Tim
Listen,
Duncan
that
wasn't
duo was the most fun.
fun. Exactly.
They're great.
And they basically
The problem
proved
is
that you
how
don't have to
boring
be
the team is.
boring
Yes,
as you want
they are
to.
so fundamental-y. It's just tough to watch.
It is.
But they
It is
perform.
two Toyota Camrys that perform well, but are just not
Exactly,
sexy
yes.
at all.
Yes,
got
but
so many
it's gonna
championships
get you
off of
there.
that
and
boring
give you
game.
a million miles.
Bro, they were a defensive team. They won championships off of defense, which you should appreciate. As
They
a
won
fucking
championships on having 2 7-foot-tall guys go like this.
defense.
Yeah, that
Defense. They
helps.
won
That's what you
defense.
call defense.
That was defense.
That helps.
They couldn't get past the ice ball, motherfucker.
They got some goddamn
But also-
human ends to go play on this
Yeah,
team.
No pun
And
to George
expected-
Iceman
yeah,
Kerber.
we got two. Who had 2 7-footers on the court at the same time? Who thinks of that? A sadistic mother who wants to win.
The Spurs are all the thing that I hate is that the Spurs somehow always get a generational big man. And it's when they have a bad season, they get in the lottery once, and then we got a generational dude. They were bad when David Robinson came up. And hey, we got him. They had David Robinson got hurt for a season, and they happened to get the number one pick, and they got fucking Tim Duncan. And then Spurs haven't even been trash for a decade, and they get Victor Wembanyama, which is some bullshit. But also, Britney Spears, she's probably not a Spurs fan anymore. Why is that, JT?
God,
apparently she thought she had more pull. I don't know. I saw nothing. I saw a meme. It was funny. I haven't even checked its authenticity. It made me laugh because it said Britney Spears got slapped by security for trying to go see Webley here. And I didn't even know who that dude was, but it was really funny that Britney Spears got slapped.
Yeah.
And she's seeking an apology.
An apology? Then they better apologize. Sorry for slapping you coming over here. Don't do it again. You won't get slapped again.
She's had a rough few. She's had a rough few decades. So yeah. Sorry, Brittany. We apologize.
She got immediately put out immediately at 16, or I don't know, maybe earlier. But she got immediately put out. You can't expect her to just come back from what the frick they did to that girl.
No.
She ain't been treated like a human from day one.
She's either been a sex object or looked at as a piggy bank by her people, or Kevin Federline's baby mama.
She's been treated like trash for a long time. So it's no surprise she crazy.
So now another thing that was kind of big is did y'all hear about the fight that they were trying to be pushing for Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk?
Yes, I hope that happens, and I hope they both
take over the other's technology company.
Yeah, they
that would be a death match.
Yes, we should have billionaires do death matches to see who gets
Kumite.
Yeah,
bring back the Kumite.
So
Mark we can only have one billionaire, Highlander style. You want to be a billionaire?
That's right.
Fight for your lifestyle.
Let's do reverse Hunger Games and have all the rich people. Let's drop them off in the middle of like Wyoming, and then y'all duke it out, and whoever survives, you're the billionaire. You are the only billionaire that's allowed in America. Yeah. Everybody else, you either are dead or you a regular ass human being, and and we put that on TV and we enjoy it for our entertainment, because it's gonna be funny watching some of these slow ass old ultra billionaires try and survive the Hunger Games while it's a goddamn a coyote on their ass. That would be hilarious. So let's work on this idea.
Well, wouldn't that be like Catching Fire? Right? I think that was the name of the one. It was Catching Fire is when they had the previous Hunger Game winners go against each other, and they were all wind up being like old fucking people trying to kill each other in the field and shit like that. I think that would be like
have Warren Buffett out there with a mace like he's in fucking Mad Max or some shit like that.
At least
I've never seen a Hunger Games movie. I just know the general premise.
Which, by the way, speaking of Hunger Games,
it's 2027.
Not that far from us now.
The billionaire class has been eaten.
So
literally, we let grizzly bears in the game too.
Remaining rich people are allowed to live their life if they sacrifice themselves to
a new world.
The reverse Hunger Games.
It
is 2027, and they're
directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh my God, that would be a twist.
Who directs the movie?
A poor person wins.
Out of nowhere.
A poor person.
You got
Tyrone Biggums gets
the win.
Why
should you die just because you're rich and have a lot of money? Because I'm hoarding so much wealth. No, you're not. You need that. You're a person.
You need that 80 billion.
So, with that, speaking of hunger, did you know today was National Fried Chicken Day?
I didn't know. Yeah. I
didn't know.
Local Popeyes.
I would have got some Gus's of Popeyes.
Fine chicken sandwich.
I wanted to ask y'all this question because of the fact that, like, I was thinking about what is like the most blackest holiday that I could think of at one point in time, because we just had, and this is my question about 4th of July coming up too. Because I had a person that felt really awkward because I asked them, I said, hey, why don't you celebrate 4th of July? Because they said, I don't support it. And you can see that they were really hesitant. And I had to remind them, I'm a black man in America. I am not going to be mad at you for not fucking celebrating 4th of July. I just wanted to know your specific reason. You're a
I'm gonna be
white
honest.
fucking dude.
If you a Native American celebrating 4th of July, you are a goofy ass motherfucker. Like, why are you doing this?
So
The fuck are you doing, bro? What are you doing?
but here's the thing. I asked the person the question. I said, like, well, do you at least celebrate Juneteenth? And they were like, no, I don't celebrate that. I was like, why not celebrate that? You just gave me a bunch of reasons why, because they were racist against people, corrupt against all this other stuff, and you don't celebrate Juneteenth. So I was thinking, what would be another like holiday we could celebrate and congregate all together? And I just found out today was National Fried Chicken Day. So I wonder, could this be our holiday?
I think it's too soon after the 4th of July. A lot of people are nursing their hangovers on the 5th. And on the 6th, they're just not ready to go back to their bad habits again.
Fair enough.
You know, unless they're the
Yeah.
type to
Put
really
it in
go hard
August.
3 days in a row, they would have to try to plan ahead pretty good to get that fried chicken there when they're so shit-faced off the 4th of July weekend.
I thought
Is when
fried
we
chicken
go
was
start
good for hangovers.
America.
I thought fried chicken was good for hangovers.
No, it's just greasy. And
I thought that was what it
tastes
was.
great.
I thought it was
It
okay.
always tastes great. No, the grease does nothing. Perhaps it lubes your colon. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was why, like, it was talking about how big of a deal it was for like Waffle House. That's why a lot of people loved Waffle House, because of the fact that like Waffle House was good for diluting all of the shit that they had drank an hour or so prior to that.
Well,
That was
yeah, a lot
also
of their food has a lot of carbs in it. You know, it soaks up a lot of the stuff, could pass a little bit, and
yeah,
you know, you got water, juice, coffee, whatever, help
yeah,
purge your body. Yeah.
yeah. So I thought that was the thing. So that's why I was wondering if this should be the day.
No, you've been to Waffle House?
Yes, I've partaked.
What was the latest?
The latest Waffle House, I want to say 2013, 2014, 2013, 2014.
I mean, latest at night, brother.
Oh, the latest I've been to, like 2:00 in the morning. Like 2 o'clock.
Right? That's pretty standard.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking. That's a thing. Yeah, that was a pretty thing. But like, I mean, and that's another thing too. It's those people who think that every Waffle House is a fight is fucking wrong.
They've never been to Waffle House and experienced the love that is people making food for you late at night without being really shitty about it.
And wearing black Air Forces while they at it.
So, the Waffle House people, they got nothing to lose.
Yes.
So they ain't doing nothing but their job, y'all. I've never been to Waffle House and just be like, ew, bad service. It's a Waffle House. You know what you're getting into. Somebody gonna take your order. Somebody gonna give you your food. Exactly. Anything you ask politely, and you don't be a dick.
Yes.
But some people come in and they just don't have no manners.
Yes.
So when you feel like somebody is acting sedity in public, what do you think are the appropriate levels of escalation, Jamel?
But
wait.
If you in a Waffle House, something goes wrong, somebody gets rude. What happens?
Well, rude with me or rude with the staff? If they're rude with me,
rude with you, dog. They get rude with you and snippy.
Depends on the situation. If it's late at night and we're all drunk, I would avoid it. If it's in the middle of the day and I'm a little more ornery, and it depends on how rude. Like there's levels to rudeness. I can get past some stuff because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to deal with no type of drama, anything like that. If it comes to it, of course, you know, blows have to be thrown. But at the end of the day, I try and ignore or move past the situation.
So, and I'm gonna ask you a quick question, man. Where's the closest Waffle House that you know of? Because I don't know a Waffle House that's close to Michigan at all.
There's two that I know of here in Arizona. One, neither are close to me, but I know of two of them.
Yeah, I want to say I don't know any Waffle Houses in Michigan. So I would say also that's another thing that people forget. Because
you got to drive Michigan, dog. They're all over the place. or
No,
were
they're
at least.
not. Look, I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at Michigan, United States. There's only one in Ohio. Holland, there's a Holland, Ohio, by the way. That's the closest one. But here's my thing. They have Denny's. How would you rate Denny's versus Waffle House?
I think Denny's is superior in selection. Denny's also has, I don't, man, they got sandwiches and
Mooney,
stuff. And,
the Mooney over my ham is like the most common one I hear about in Denny's.
mm,
The Mooney over my hammy. That's the most common one I hear for people. Moon, it's an egg and ham.
Moon over my hammies.
Yeah, moon over my hammy.
yeah.
Oh, there is a waffle. Oh no.
That's all in
Okay,
Ohio.
so
I just
There
looked
used
it
to
up.
be one on 94
Yeah.
though, going. I think that corpse of a building is still there.
Yep, closest one is in Toledo.
Toledo is the closest one.
There's a Waffle House on Michigan Avenue in
Do
Florida.
y'all remember House of Pancakes before International House of Pancakes came a thing?
No, because I grew up with Waffle
I
House.
remember seeing something like that. My stepmom took me and my little sister before after church to like a place that was just House of Pancakes before it was like IHOP, and like it was not IHOP, and the pancakes were bad. The pancakes bad.
So I found out about IHOP in the most randomest kind of way. I grew up watching the fucking Steve Harvey show, and Bullet had said about his IHOP, and he was giving a report on the International House of Pancakes, and that's how I found out about IHOP from a TV show that came on UPN one day. So yeah, I didn't know about IHOP until I came up here in like 2006.
You know, I got a random question for y'all. What's a restaurant that you had that's apparently super famous, but you had never been to until you either went to another state or until you like went to another city? For me, Chick-fil-A was one of those places because the only time that I had actually ever seen a Chick-fil-A in relation to Detroit, it was PBS would have Chick-fil-A as one of the sponsors for their shows, and they would always do the cow with the eat more chicken. That's how I knew, like, what the fuck is Chick-fil-A? That and Juicy Juice. Like, but I knew what Juicy Juice was. But Chick-fil-A is one of those places where it's like I had never seen them until I went to Alabama, and then I moved to Arizona. Chick-fil-A's are pretty plentiful out here. What about y'all?
I got one, and you're gonna laugh because technically it's the same thing. Checkers. I thought it was so hilarious that there was two different names of the same restaurant. And if you're down south, it's called Rallies. Up here, it's called Checkers. So when
it used to be Rallies up here too, up in Michigan too.
Yeah. So I thought it was just funny that they used to have like these commercials, and I used to see Checkers and then I see Rallies right next to it. So I'm gonna say Checkers. That was like my biggest one. But if you want to say, I guess if I want to go like really defaultly, maybe Steak and Shake. Steak and Shake was like one of those ones I've heard about a couple of times, and I was like, oh, this thing does exist.
But I think Steak and Shake is better than my answer, which is In-N-Out Burger. And I think Steak and Shake, I think Steak and Shake hands down beat In-N-Out Burger, minus some stupid string fries. Nobody likes string fries.
No, not really.
Let's be clear. In-N-Out, when I moved out here, In-N-Out was one of those places I wanted to try. And the first time I had them, I'm like, oh, these are really good. But then after a while, after having them a couple of times, it's just like, nah, it's just fresh. It's okay. It is mediocre at best. Like if you go to a McDonald's and you go to one at like that right time, burgers are of equal or greater value at McDonald's. Like a good quarter pounder, a good McDouble, when they like you got one of them crews that's just on it, it beats an In-N-Out burger. Back
McDonald's
in
it beats my anti-imperialism campaign, bruh. I thought McDonald's had mediocre offerings. The McFlurries were enticing, but ultimately Dairy Queen beat them. So I just I decided to boycott McDonald's, man.
Ooh, actually, you know what? You brought up a better one. Help me think of a better one. Jack in the Box.
Jesus, I don't like those.
I still haven't been to that one because I've been told it's so mid, and they're like, you ain't missing nothing.
A place where you can get a cheeseburger.
You've been told correct.
Oh shit, he froze. Oh, there you go. Yeah, a place where you can get egg rolls, tacos, and a fucking
burger.
hamburger all in one place.
And you know you can't have such diverse offerings and be good. Let's be honest. You got to specialize.
Jack
your
of all
restaurant.
trades, master of none.
The, the rest of the saying is still better than master of one, which means if you can do a little bit of everything, you have a broader, use than the specialist. But the thing is, that's not the case. What we found out is actually we like our specialists.
Yeah.
And so if
Yeah.
you're going to specialize in burgers, at least make them flame broiled.
So I
My go-to is
dug
Burger
Jack in the
King.
Box
That's
when I was
really
in
what-
Washington State. I dug it when I was in Washington State. Now, when I came, when I went back to Louisiana, because they do actually have one in Baton Rouge.
You mean Jack in the Box, right?
Jack in the Box, yeah. When I went back and they had one in Baton Rouge, I was like, oh, okay. I can see where a person doesn't like it here. But yeah, when I was in Washington State, fucking Jack in the Box hit different. So, but I think it's because of the fact that it was a new thing, and I love the fucking shakes there. The shakes were fucking
it could have been something as simple as the state made them use a different type of oil, or they had a different type of oil imported, so they could use peanut oil over there instead of canola oil.
Yeah, that is
everything
a thing.
tasted better, And like, there's a lot of different. I remember Oprah was in McDonald's one time, like handing out meals to people that were free or whatever, and giving them the new fry because they had newer, healthier French fries because America was getting fat because they ate so many. You know what I mean? So like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into this, and they know is like mid food.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, the industrialization of what we put in our bodies, I feel like makes people more prone to the other problems that Americans suffer from, like diabetes and heart problems, dementia.
They bring too much for so, and I think it's funny that like you just said that like Oprah Winfrey was like talking about healthier food about French fries when fucking French fries is a carbohydrate. It's nothing but sugar. So you cool with me not getting this heart disease, but that damn blood sugar is gonna be really fucking spiking. Those diabetes are gonna be diabetes by the time we hit 35.
It's like making a safer cigarette. At some point, you just gotta accept some shit is just awful for it. It's just bad. Either you consume it or you're not gonna consume it. Yes. That's the bottom line of it. You can't like, ooh, let me get this tobacco-less cigarette. Like, dog, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, you can't make this thing that's bad for you. You can't, no matter how hard you try, you can't make it. You can make a cigarette as light as possible. You smoke enough of them Virginia Slims, you gonna get a little bit of that cancer. And if you are out here eating, look, even if the healthiest version of fast food is bad for you, now look, accept the consequences or eat healthy. Like that's your choice. Stop bitching.
Bro, you be sitting out there, you be seeing that person. Bro,
you got food at home.
I been seeing people with that fucking like doing this with the with the fucking cigarette, bro.
Dog, people still. That is the funniest shit that I've seen. Dudes rolling up cigarettes with the tobacco in the bag. Like, bro, what decade is it? Like, motherfucker, is this the 1800s? Why are you doing that?
Dog,
like, they got cigarettes in a pack, bro.
Bro, I see dudes do that shit, bro, and I was like, I seen it when my dad was growing.
Hey, don't knock it. It's cheaper.
Yeah, he'll have a big ass bag because he was a Cool Filter King person, and he was working on trying like to not to fucking smoke anymore. So he was reducing his smoking by going into these fucking like ones that he got to make. Because if he has to make it, it's gonna annoy him enough that he doesn't want to make like smoke the cigarette anymore. So he outsmarted himself. That Negro went to go buy him a fucking pipe because the fact that he was like, I can't fucking smoke. I can't make this bitch.
Motherfucker out here like John Henry or something, like just rolling up cigarettes.
Hey, man,
that's why he died. He done smoked a pack a day.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just saying.
He didn't get enough sleep because he stayed up all night rolling them things.
Yeah,
it took forever.
Bro.
So, I low-key do want one of them old school pipes. Just I don't even smoke cigarettes like that. I just want to have one. Like just every once in a while. Just
it was the most novel thing. Yeah. I got one of them
Just to
old
have
ones.
it.
It was $8 on Amazon. It was dirt cheap. Of course, it broke.
Yeah.
And it's when it gets nasty at that price, you just throw it out and get a new one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's.
I'll use it for weed. I would use it for weed if it's capable. Because
Jamel loves
I
it.
usually buy pre-rolls if I go to a dispensary because I don't know how to roll. And so I'm like, if I did have like a apparatus to
All
use,
right, bruh. But listen, I'm telling you, pre-rolls is like industrialized food. It is the fast food of weed. It's better when you get your own bud and you actually take the time to respect it. You smell it, you break it up with your own two hands, you pack it up, and then you toke that bug. It hits different. And so, like, I don't know, I think giving a little bit of time and respect to weed helps you manage it. You know what I'm saying? So some people's like, I just smoke to get high. But like, if you take a second and you just really go appreciate the bud that you get, it's such a more positive experience.
I feel like if Jamel got a pipe, he's gonna call you, Jonathan. I am going to go
And
to.
you are allowed.
I would wear my
American
glasses more
Nobody
if I ever had
questions
that
it.
pipe.
It's amazing.
Just a pipe and I'm wearing my glasses all the time. I'm gonna give me a
I
sweater,
am a
one of them old
connoisseur.
school Mr. Rogers sweaters. Uh, I'm gonna just dye my hair. I'm gonna dye it, get some gray in it, just for no reason.
He's
If I
gonna look
ever
like
get that
fucking
pipe,
Lawrence
just
Fishburne off of High Alert.
I'm gonna have a fake accent. Like do I want to be Jamaican? Do I want to be Black British? I'm gonna figure out my accent. But that weirdly leads me into a question because of a trailer that I saw.
Yes.
There's going to be a Bob Marley biopic that's coming out later this year.
No.
And in can let me finish the setup for the question.
No. I was talking about something else. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, so is it just me or are biopics kind of they're my least favorite genre of movie because unless it's like a historical pick of somebody who's been long like dead or something like that, so many of these biopics, and I think the Tina Turner one kind of brought this back up. It's like, dog, the formula for these movies are fucking predictable. Like we talk about some of the potholes and problems that Marvel movies have, but like damn near every musical biopic, especially, follows the exact same formula. We see them early in their life. We see their talent appear. If they black, they probably did it in the church. Then we see their hard scramble life in their mid-20s, they teens. Then we see them blow up and have a success. Then the downfall happens. Little drugs get involved every once in a while. They have that low point, and then up towards the end of the movie, they come back, they rise, and hey, happy ending. And then we roll credits to the end, and we figure out what happened with them. And it's just the same damn movie all the time. And for me, I think we kind of don't need to do too much more of them. But what are y'all thoughts on like just biopics and musical biopics, especially?
Go ahead, JT.
So I want to remind you that Jamie Foxx won best actor for doing the biopic of Ray Charles.
Oh, before you get into it, I know, like, I kind of feel where you're going. I know they win awards because fucking Academy is, low
It's
bottom
a circle of
intelligent.
Hollywood, yes. I was
It
going to get to
is.
that. Why are you cutting me off,
It
Jamel?
is.
Listen to what
They
I'm
make
saying.
money. Oh yeah.
So listen, I want you to understand that people who play other people, Denzel did an incredible job and put Spike Lee on the map with Malcolm X. That was a biopic. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a dramatized type of thing. They tried to do it as it was. And people will tell you that the spirit of Malcolm basically came on Denzel and he portrayed that properly. You know what I'm saying? And in order to really channel somebody in such a way is the highest excellence of an actor, in my opinion. You're being somebody else. This person fooled you into thinking they actually were him. Will Smith didn't really fool me into thinking he was Muhammad Ali. But Jamie Foxx fooled me into thinking he was Ray Charles. And I think that's one of the beauties of the biopic. Andre 3000 did Jimi Hendrix, right? And that was, did y'all watch that one?
I forgot about that one. Yeah, I seen that one.
I did too.
It was well, brush up on that one. It puts people as they were in your face, and people who were there go, yeah, it was like that. That is a good retelling. That is a necessary, like, it's the story is true, so it should be told. What I got a problem with is when you have the option of that, or you dramatize it up and you don't tell the whole story, or you boil down, a bunch of different characters into one character like they did in Hidden Figures. This is a problem, and it's a bastardization of what actually happened. It's a bastardization of history. And taking this artistic liberty, in my opinion, is really kind of raggedy, because like, you should know the story of Jimi Hendrix. You should know the story of Ray Charles. You should know the story of Cassius Clay, who later became Muhammad Ali. You should know the story of, and these are necessary portrayals. If you're watching something just to be entertained, you're missing the point of the medium. You are getting sugar in your brain. You know what I'm saying? And Hollywood is sitting here and they're telling you to watch a movie because Hollywood said it was a good movie. I watched La La Land. That was a circle jerk. Hollywood was so pleased with itself that everybody loved the movie. The movie was mid.
Oh yeah,
and it's over here being an Oscar contender.
Oh yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but for me, another problem is with the biopic. It's one, when details are changed, when things that just didn't happen, like The Social Network. Like none of us are like Mark Zuckerberg fans, but he actually came out and said there were details in that movie that were not true about his life. Tina Turner said that about What's Love Got to Do with It. Ray Charles even had some problems with Ray, and you get like when the embellishment, either the embellishments happen or when important details are left out. And a big issue that can happen is if the subject is living, it basically turns into a puff piece for the person that you're talking about. Like Straight Outta Compton was criticized rightly because it left out heavy details of Dr. Dre's abuse, like his abusive past towards women. Like that is undisputable. That is a part of who Dr. Dre is past. That's a part of who he is with Michelet, with Dee Barnes, and it just glossed right over it. Elvis, the Elvis biopic, one of the highest grossing movies last year. Elvis met Priscilla Presley when she was like 12 to 14 years old. And I think he married her when she was 16. That is some straight pedo shit. And detail just glossed right over. And so many of these biopics, because they want to entertain the fans, because if you are out there and you're leaving in and you're adding these dirty details, well, the super fans are going to be like, oh, come on, man, why you have to include that? Why that got to be in there? And then it's just like, why are you even telling this story? All of that is a part of these people's stories, and so many of these biopics are just like, we ain't going to include that detail. We just going to leave. We're going to leave that out.
Yeah.
And they try and smush all these events.
They take the juiciest parts, but they don't also have the parts that give context to the character. And some of the parts are usually more unsavory that we don't want to include because that might be depressing.
Correct. I would say, like, because you brought up about the Elvis Presley thing, I think that you need moments like that. Excuse me, so sorry, apologize. You need moments like that. But I swear to God, man, that intelligence was coming out of from the soul for a second. You need moments like that, and the reason being is because of the fact that, like, just like how JT said, the context of the character, but I think it also shows where the culture was during that time. So just like how you watch a movie with Malcolm X, you can't watch a Malcolm X movie without seeing him smoking cigarettes or smoking bud a little bit. And then there's a hatred for the people who smoke bud. There's a acceptance of people who smoking cigarettes. But you look at people who smoke cigarettes today, there's a hatred for that now. But there's a little bit more of an acceptance when it comes to smoking bud today. And you look at a situation with Elvis Presley, meaning Priscilla. Like, I mean, I hate to say this, during that time, that was a part of the culture, that it was okay for dudes to be that way, even though it was fucking sucky. It was a trash ass mindset. And so I think that, like, it's important to be able to have like little tidbits like that for the culture, so I can be able to know who those people were and where we kind of got to now. It doesn't. I don't think that reflects a bad on a person's morals at that point in time. If that makes sense, what I'm saying, because of the fact that, like, think about it in this context. We talk about like Eminem being one of the greatest rappers alive, right? And we talk about a lot of people who say the word faggot, and they say that shit with some like perseverance in their fucking heart, right? And they say that shit.
That threw me off. You said you just dropped it.
I fucking said it, man. It's a fucking thing.
Like, goddamn.
People say faggot, right? And that was a thing.
My meaning will cut through of hate and vitriol.
Yeah.
Hey, say the F word from now on, bro, because that shows you how much society has changed. Like, damn, I am not used to hearing
felt that shit. But I intentionally said it just like that.
Everybody says fuck on Hulu now, but they don't say the other F word.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You see that point? You see how that cut for a second? That cut differently. And so I need a movie. If I'm gonna watch a movie about the 90s, I need to be able to hear that word. If we're gonna use that word, that's how it was. True. And so the same thing about like when we was watching that's why we felt better about, for example, we was watching Django Unchained versus like even Color Purple or some other movies that was during the time period, and they didn't say the fucking word. Me and my wife were watching Kindred. And we was like, when are y'all gonna say nigga? Because this is about a slave plantation. When y'all gonna say the word nigga?
You gotta understand that people, like, you were subjected to that at the time.
That was your culture.
You didn't have a choice. And it was gonna be some shit. And if you act like you can just pussyfoot around that in that time, you were wrong.
Yeah.
And that's why they're like, oh, America was just pockets of people. No, it was ubiquitous.
It was everywhere.
It was America.
So I think that's the biggest crime usually is when it comes to films, is the fact that like, or those biopics, is the fact that they take the culture out of it. So that's what makes it takes the soul out of it. Yeah. Is the fact that like, I know that in the 50s and 40s, Black people weren't going to water fountains. That was looking porcelain clean. I know that. So if you want me to grow up thinking that the remake of My Friend Martin, they were all cool and they were walking down the street together perfectly fine, then something is wrong. Something is wrong. It's the book banned in Florida version of movies. And I think that's why it's so tough for us to be able to like digest those documentaries, those biopics, is because the fact that we as people who kind of get those stories already handed down to us already, we already know what the deal is. So why just fucking fake it out to me? Why fake it to me? That's like getting Amistad and then having an all-white cast.
Yeah. For me, I'd much rather watch a good documentary series than a biopic, because I think a documentary, it has more of the heart of who that person was. Like so many of these biopics also, and this is just be the last point, because I think we killed this hour. We no news, but we managed to kill this hour. Like the biopics, this is my last point. Biopics so often they try and smush a person's entire life into 2.5 to 3 hours, and that's you can't do that with everyone. Like that was my big problem with the Tupac thing. It was just so many things were just happening in rapid succession. And one, the movie is just terrible. That Tupac All Eyes on Me biopic. This is your East Side review of that. It is 100% rat ass. It does not deserve dumpster level. It is a terrible biopic, terrible movie. The only redeeming quality is the fake Jada Pinkett who was in that movie, because she made fake Tupac tolerable as an actor. Everything else is 100% terrible, bad. Snoop Dogg has a role in, like, Snoop Dogg dubs his voice in the movie, and it's so fucking obvious, and it's just so unnecessary. It's a bad movie, but they rush through so many events, and they don't ever give a chance to linger on that. That was kind of the problem with Notorious. They just rush through events. Where it's like, all right, here, boom, boom, boom. Let's move forward and let's move on to try and get everything in this condensed time. And it's just like, you really can't do that with a lot of people. And so for me, well-made documentaries are always going to be best. Now, I love Malcolm X. I think that might still be Denzel's best role. I would say either that, Training Day, maybe Flight for me, top 3 Denzel, just acting his ass off. But
I
and
like
Jamie Foxx killed it in Ray.
I liked
But yeah,
Joaquin Phoenix.
it's a
I
lot.
thought he did a good job in that mug, and I don't know why he's
Denzel
kind of
Bible action movie. Hell yeah.
that shit was dope. It was so believable. That's why he got me as an actor. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Book of Eli.
He cut
Yeah,
that dude hand off so quick. He told that dude, "You put that hand on me again, you ain't getting it back."
Yeah.
Put his hand on him, cut it off. Didn't get it back.
yeah. So, and before we move on, I guess my only part I would say is, what would you think about the Jeffrey Dahmer one? Because
Oh, that shit's fucking unnecessary.
I felt like it was
think
necessary,
it glorifies an evil person, and what you're doing is you're
That
putting a
one-
spotlight on evil, and evil don't need a bigger spotlight. You tell people this is how that motherfucker acted, so you know what to watch out for. That's where the value can be gleaned from this. But you're gonna find that in documentaries, not watching him carry out these kills. That's gross.
I think you needed that though. I think that you needed that film though.
There were details that were incorrect. The person who escaped, like one of the last people that actually escaped, they in the documentary, they had him meet Jeffrey Dahmer in a gay club, when in reality they did not, and the dude is actually not gay. And so if you're watching that as the dude who's in that, it's just like, dog, that shit didn't happen. And it's like, and it's also documentary. There are plenty of documentaries about Jeffrey Dahmer out there. We did not need a multi-part series done well on Netflix with a good actor and lead role to Jeffrey Dahmer, because weirdly, when you watch certain things, you naturally kind of attach or root for the central figure in them. Even if they're doing some awful shit, you still, in a weird way,
they're the
protagonist
to the story.
Yeah, and I think for Jeffrey Dahmer, for me at least, I think HisStory. Didn't mean to cut you off, bro, but yeah, just for me, that's a story that documentary, cool. A whole glossy biopic or limited series, nah, man, we kind of don't need that for Jeffrey Dahmer. But HisStory, go right ahead.
So only reason why I disagree is because the fact that sometimes I feel like we forget the accuracies. We mount up the bad more so than like some of the actual good that's happening in it. So for example, like that actual scene where there was in court and she was like, "I hate you, Jeffrey Dahmer." That was a real thing that happened. There was a couple of other things that actually were completely accurate inside of the actual documentary. But I think that what it did more so is the fact that it showed the negligence of the actual police department. It showed the actual the inability for people to be able to actually report something that happened. I would say the true crime is that they only had one neighbor reporting in the movie. When the lady that
and she actually didn't even live in the same building with them and played a much less significant part.
Yeah, the
IRL.
person that she played didn't live in a real building. So it's funny because the fact that she didn't really live in a real building, but her character played the person who lived really next door to him. And so I would say that like you still need that. You still need that, like the fact of like, if you're gonna hammer in that this person was utilizing black people and those voices wasn't necessarily heard, and that like police were just plain fucking racist and they dropped all those people because of the fact that they were a black and brown person. I think that the film did a good job by capturing that. And so, and then I've heard several people say kind of the same thing as you. There's plenty of murder documentaries on Jeffrey Dahmer. But my question is, the follow-up to that is, name one. Name one. Whoa. Because you probably never heard of those documentaries. You probably never really took the time to watch it. But because of the fact that you've seen, oh yeah, this motherfucker was a top movie or like whatever, biopic or whatever like that, that's what made you turn that shit on and watch it again. So, I mean, I think that the true crime when it comes to those is the fact that like they lose the soul in a lot of those films. The culture was that no, there wasn't no white dude upstairs that he was trying to fucking like hunt after. You know what I mean? There wasn't no there was a lot of fucking movies where like what was it? We talked about what's love got to do with it. There was no gun at the actual end of the scene. There was no raping and stuff like that. Those are the things that like kind of loses the culture of the movie. That those loses the actual feeling of the movie. So yeah, but my last part I want to get to you before we move on, man, is this. And we got like 6 more minutes before we go to our movie. You asked us all have 1 year of prep. Then they meet up somewhere in Spain. This is based off of a meme that you already saved, shared with us. Then they meet up in somewhere in Spain. They battle who wins and why. You have T'Challa, Black Panther, Ozymandias, Dr. Doom, and Batman. So give your answer and your reason why, and then JT give your answer and reason why when you finish.
Well, I already posted the video on our YouTube channel, which you can check out after the show. And I have it on my personal TikTok at Eastside Reviews. I picked Dr. Doom to get the win with a year of prep time. Dr. Doom is a hyper genius, incredibly intelligent, and you combine that with his mastery of sorcery. Dr. Doom has oftentimes been compared to Doctor Strange and is a candidate to be Sorcerer Supreme on Earth. Dr. Doom is one of the most effective leaders of his own country, similar to T'Challa has his own country behind him. And of course, spent a significant time as Iron Man in recent years and has shown his capabilities as a genius, scientist, leader, master of a variety of different things. You give him that prep time. Batman is my all-time favorite character. I am wearing a Black Panther shirt, and I have respect for Ozymandias. If there was one person who I would be like, ooh, I could see them getting it over Doom, it'd be Ozymandias with the way that he chess moved in Watchmen. But for me, Dr. Doom would get the win in that hypothetical battle in Spain, which is just a random ass place to.
Because got a lot of open space over there. That's why they got a lot of villages and like.
I mean, they could have put that in. They could have put that in Wyoming. Ain't nobody in Wyoming.
Fair enough. I don't think that Batman would be able to counter Dr. Doom's magic. And Dr. Doom has Doombots. And what's Batman going to do if he's just by himself? Drive a plane into a Doombot? No, that Doombot going to wreck his plane immediately.
But also, you're forgetting Batman was also involved with Cyborg and also Mother Box.
Involved, dog. That don't mean he get to take them in a fight. He's out there fighting, not him and Cyborg. Him.
Yeah. All right. So
be like, oh, and they bring their buddies.
That's okay. So what is your answer then? What is your answer?
They doing this dolo. It's dolo. They by themselves.
Okay.
Magic Trump.
JT, who's your pick?
Doom. I'll go with Doom.
What about you, HisStory? You were fired up. Who you picking?
Oh no, man.
Intelligence magic.
I have one reason, and I have one person, and I think that like he's a sleeper when we actually look at the list, and that's because of the fact that nobody knows too much about him, and that's the one thing that you have on your chest right now is Black Panther. One part of that people are forgetting that Black Panther is actually not only does have the Illuminati, but also on top of that, he is the fucking king of the dead as well. He has a god behind him. So realistically, I think beyond the fact of like he has a superpower, he has the actual the technology from what's the I forgot the metal name. What's the metal name?
You mean vibranium and
the vibranium? Yeah, the vibranium. So not only does he have that technology behind him as well, but also because of the fact that he has that same magic background as well. And his whole thing is about basically getting actual ancestors behind him. There's been times where T'Challa has summoned old fucking Black Panthers to be able to actually bring them back to actually fight for him. So think about it like this. Dr. Doom has 1 year prep and he brings in his Doombots. Do you think that they're going to be able to go against a bunch of other Black Panthers who have very different abilities against
Dr. Doom also has a mastery of sorcery. And he has those similar abilities as well.
And this is also
he has literally been to hell and back to retrieve his mama. Like he's got that experience. Also,
that's what the Panther died. Black Panther died.
The same guy. The same god that is behind Black Panther recognized Dr. Doom as well. Mm-hmm. So Doom is on a completely different level in terms of intelligence and all of the other skills that he has. T'Challa, bad boy, bad motherfucker. But I don't think he quite gets the. I personally don't think he would get the win.
I think he would fold them. I think he would fold them so through.
I hear somebody coming up and be like, T'Challa has a god behind him, then he's a match for Doom. And that's what I hear Victor Von Doom saying, dog. Just shutting that shit down. Then he's a match.
And so I just say that, like, because you say that he went to hell and back, T'Challa became the king of the dead. So I mean, I'm just saying hell is including dead. So I think that
with that being said,
that is definitely one of those debates that we that was pretty fucking dope on that one. I thought that was a good like small little fucking name bit on him. But with that, let's get into some real sci-fi shit, man. Let's talk about one of the fucking like blockbusters out there, because we just decided to go for the theme of the month, which is like summer blockbusters. So Jamel, hit us with our first summer blockbuster.
Yes, July is the month of summer blockbusters here on Historical Voices from the East Side. We have 4 of them coming your way, and we are kicking things off with a blockbuster from 1997. The 90s were a very good decade for movies, and this gentleman in particular, one of the stars of the movie, he began a role, and it led him into superstardom. We are reviewing Men in Black from 1997, released on July the 2nd. It is based on a Marvel Comics series, so technically, this is a Marvel movie. Somehow, you should know it's a Marvel movie because it takes place in New York. But the Men in Black, it is based on the Marvel Comics series about a secret government agent. You know, turns out all the conspiracy theory people were right. The government's hiding knowledge of aliens, and they're putting shit in the water to make all the fucking frogs gay. But anyway, the movie stars Tommy Lee Jones, stars Will Smith, and it is about the Men in Black, a government agency that handles all crimes and incidences related to extraterrestrial life forms here on Earth. It is a crack into a world that we really should have only seen this one time, but we can get into that later. Has a lot of dope done special effects, makeup prosthetics done by the legendary Rick Baker. We have visual effects done by Industrial Lights and Magic, the folks behind the Star Wars series. And we have, of course, theme and music composed by Danny Elfman. This movie came about in the late 90s. A lot was happening in the late 90s. The years 1998 to 1999 were very fascinating. A lot of blockbuster hits came out. This movie is, of course, it is a cherished childhood favorite of mine. But let's get into the details. Let's talk about the actors for a second. So, JT, the voice, what you think of the man Tommy Lee Jones? One of the more, he's typecast as grizzled, old-ass, hard-ass dude, and usually a cop, but he's so good at that role. What do you think of Mr. Tommy Lee Jones?
I think Tommy Lee Jones did a pretty good curmudgeon-y yet caring role. He really cared about his job. He took it seriously, and he really had a good straight edge to him. I didn't really think it was too apparent he was looking for his replacement, because I thought he had an old guy, and then he got his turn to be the old guy, and it really didn't seem to me like he was fed up enough of being the old guy, even though he was still pining for his wife or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was my only complaint, is him retiring immediately at the end of the film. But, I thought that he was your typical blabbermouth. You know what I'm saying? Anybody could have done that role. But I think Will did a good job of having the kind of like athleticism, the cockiness, but like his acting really made it seem like his J could back it up. Mm-hmm. And I think they did a good job building up his credibility, so he really felt like a really good, fleshed out, capable man in black. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I liked I really liked Vincent D'Onofrio as the bug guy. He outacted the brakes out of everybody, in my opinion. He really made the film. such a great, creepy, disgusting guy.
Oh
But
my God.
I kind of wish he would have had more screen time with Tommy Lee Jones. Like they really didn't even talk. It was just "eat me." That was what the words that were exchanged. You know what I'm saying?
Ever.
So I kind of would have liked to see how Kay would have interacted with that thing beforehand to try to make things go different. But that was, these are just what ifs, and we definitely didn't get them answered in other films for other reasons. But we have this
HisStory, what about you? What did you think of the chemistry between Agent J and Agent K in this movie, with,
So
or Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith?
So I think the only reason why I'm going to address one thing for JT, which is you couldn't tell that he was looking for his replacement, and the reason being is because the fact that most of the movies that we review from the '90s is the fact that like they kind of cursed by the idea of simply just one thing: we don't know how long the fucking time period is.
Right.
We don't know how long. I know that there was a night sequence, but like how many days are we talking about later?
No. Tommy, he says this. He says, not bad for your second day at work.
Yeah.
So he had known Will Smith for 3 days at that point.
Yeah.
And he was already ready to retire.
Yeah. So
did it really feel like he was feeling like the old guy for that long?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that. But this is why I say that I don't think that it really counts, because of the fact that he's so busy bantering throughout the whole time. Sometimes it's hard for you to catch up. I will say that throughout the whole film. Tommy Lee Jones did a really good job by like speaking clearly and directly. But there was moments in time where you're like, because of the fact that how fluid he was throughout the whole time, I couldn't keep up with every single joke that he was punching out. Because it almost seemed like every line of dialogue that he had was meant to be some type of burn or some type of joke. So when you have a person who says like, not too bad for your third day at work, it just didn't feel like, oh, he meant that in a literal sense, because everything felt abstract.
I don't think there's any other way to take it, because we were with Will Smith through this process. So I think we can assume that there was only 3 days there. Yeah. And if that's the case, then I think all they had to do was link that Tommy Lee Jones' character was in the same class as the guy who was too old.
Yeah.
Remember when we went to the academy together? Then they would have been in the same age group or whatever, yada, yada. That would have made some sense. But we didn't really get that, so it was definitely confusing.
Yeah. So it just
line of good writing would have fixed that problem.
Yeah, very much so. That's why I say I don't know. I felt like it still didn't do a good job of helping me be able to understand that this was over the course of like a week, between we got the first alien coming from the Mexicans crossing the border to this final shoot down. Hey, we about to take neuralize K. I just felt like I just had maybe 3 night sequences tops. And so I'm thinking that obviously, yeah, maybe that is based off of 3 days. And that's based off of what I see with the night sequences. But as far as the chemistry, I felt like the chemistry worked. I don't see that chemistry working with anybody else in some kind of way. And the only reason being is because of the fact that Will Smith did a really good job by starting off as a hard ass and then switching over to understanding that his position in the room is to be the comedic relief. So if you remember in the very beginning, he was very serious. Even though like he threw out a joke, he was really wanting to be like fight this the other cops over there. And it became very, very serious throughout the whole process of Will Smith's scenes. And then when we finally got him with Kay at the actual Men in Black headquarters, that's when you started seeing him joking and then kind of like being kind of the goofball of it. And I think that like, I don't know if anybody else could have done that in the 90s that I can think of off the top of my head and been taken seriously, at least.
Yeah, the thing is that this is at its core, it's a buddy cop movie.
Yes.
Like it's in that tradition of Rush Hour, which came out around the same time, Lethal Weapon, Turner and Hooch. It is a buddy cop movie, and it's critical that Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones click together. And I feel that they actually did. Tommy Lee Jones is a good straight man in this movie, and Will Smith has some of the sillier moments. But Tommy Lee Jones, some of the shit that he's saying is actually very funny. he just delivers it in such a straightforward way.
Face,
Like the scene in the morgue where he's just like, "Okay, how many times have you flashed a thing to me?" A couple times. Like he literally just.
No, I never did. He said none.
None.
He said none with his
Are you sure? None. And kept saying no. You're just like, I've done it to her a couple of times. Like it's just they work well together. And it's funny imagining some of the other actors who could have been in it, because if we look at the casting choices, Clint Eastwood was actually considered, was the one that the studio actually wanted, was one that Sony wanted, but he didn't. He could have been, I think he could have been. Steven Spielberg promised he was an executive producer because Amblin Entertainment was behind this movie as well. And he said, hey, script would improve, and that's how they got Tommy Lee Jones. And Tommy Lee Jones, like you said, honest, the first draft of the movie stank.
What was that, Jamel?
Ooh. No, I said he said that the first draft of the film stank, the first script that we got. And so they actually did improve some of the stuff to capture some elements of the comic. And you said that Tommy Lee is better than Clint Eastwood?
I think he might be a better actor. Clint
Eastwood got a growl,
and I watched a lot of his old westerns too, but he kind of got the same kind of growl that he just has been doing for 50 years or whatever. 60 years.
I might agree. I think I agree with you. I feel
especially when
Tommy Lee Jones in movies more than
what Tommy
I don't know
if
Clint Eastwood.
I think his panache of his character is like the right amount of that's your problem. You know what I mean? And so when he's over here talking to the dude and Will Smith is delivering the baby, getting shook upside down by a friggin' tentacle of Cthulhu.
You're doing great.
Yep. Just minding his business. And then the baby came out and it was great. And that was the funny part. It's like it was like encouraging, but he was serious at the same time. As it sounded
you're fine. Yeah. Some of the other casting choices for Jay, and these are kind of interesting. One was Chris O'Donnell, mainly because of his portrayal of Dick Grayson in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. And then David Schwimmer actually turned down the role of Agent J. That would have been Jay would have been such it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked. And so I think the chemistry hinges on him. But let's talk about probably the guy who, as you said, he stole the show.
Line that Will Smith said was for, the difference between me and you, I make this look good. It was about David Schwimmer and him in that touch.
So the funny thing is, man, think about that. That would have been this movie would have been Men in Black International, the very first movie, if you would have had David.
No, we can save our slander for the sequels a little bit later. There's slander that.
No, I'm just saying this movie specifically based off of that casting, this would have definitely been that. But go ahead, finish what you were saying.
90s David Schwimmer's not a terrible actor. Like I actually think he's good in Band of Brothers, but he wouldn't have been right for this role. Vincent D'Onofrio owns the movie whenever he's on screen as the Bug and I want to give this woman credit. Her name is Siobhan Fallon Hogan, Beatrice Edgar's wife. The way she says Edgar is hilarious. It always tickled me. Edgar. And Vincent D'Onofrio is excellent. Like he is in right away. You realize, okay, nobody's gonna miss this asshole when he dies. He is just being a piece of shit right out the gate. Comes out and then gets possessed by the Bug, and it's gross. And the gotta give him a man, Rick Baker, the legend, give him credit for them prosthetics because it is vomit inducing, but you can't look away from it.
It's so believable. But I tell you, this movie was so much less gross than Men in Black 2. I watched Men in Black 2 and it's just gross, bug infested gross. And this movie is not so repulsive visually. And I think didn't win the Oscar for the special effects.
He actually did.
Yeah.
Picked up an Oscar for this.
So that's for a buddy cop movie, for any comedy movie to win an Oscar is usually pretty high praise. But they really did a lot of practical effects that last, and that's why you should do more practical effects because they work. They're timeless. You are taking something that's there and manipulating it, and it doesn't look like this cheap CGI that we saw in later parts of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that bug did not look realistic. Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny?
That bug eyes was dated CGI.
You know what's funny?
It wasn't Spawn level bad, but it was close.
I mean, it's better than looking like the Flash right now.
Damn.
The Flash and Thor: Love and Thunder have worse CGI than this movie.
Look, bad CGI is like bad magic, okay? If you didn't make this look real, then that was how the magic was too, y'all. The magic was shitty and didn't really look like it should have worked out the way that it did. Now you're
like, I imagine if you saw,
you didn't pay animators.
Yeah, I imagine in like 1997 when this came out, that bug was just, it was popping. But we got like 2023 eyes, and we've seen decades of what it's been. I think it's fine. It's not necessarily the best, but it's
dated.
It's fine. Like, it's dated. Like Jurassic Park is just not starting to look dated, because, and that's, you know, that shit was revolutionary in this day. So I totally understand what you're saying.
But that's because the older Jurassic Parks used puppets, used real dinos. And the new Jurassic Parks used CGI. And you can tell the freaking difference. You can tell when them velociraptors are running around, because those are the CGI ones. You know, and so that's like, you can tell. And it's dated too, because the technology was only so good.
So the only reason why I say that, like, I guess I'm giving this one more leeway is because of the fact that it had so little CGI that I just didn't care about it as much. But I think that all it needs is a little bit of remastering. If it just remaster it, then I think that this movie would be perfect. Because I was noticing this when I was watching the movie. I started seeing that actual noise for the actual film itself. So when they had close-up scenes, you could see the little static noise inside of it. And I was just like, oh, yeah, Amazon Prime got the standard edition for this one. They didn't go for the 40X on this one. So it didn't feel like it was an updated version at all. So
they had the Arquillian King and he was gasping in that head, that was a puppet.
That was a puppet, yeah.
And that looked real because it was something physically there.
Yeah.
And just always 100% of the time. This is one of the reasons why Dark Crystal still holds up, is because it's done with puppets.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's still really a good place for these things. It just costs money, and you have to pay your people well. And you got to get right folks who make these good special effects. But I think Jamel keeps hammering home. They hit it out the park on this one, y'all.
Yeah. So quick question, real fast. One of the notes I wrote down was Tommy Lee Jones, and I'm sorry to jump back to the beginning. Tommy Lee Jones made a joke about protecting us from the dangerous aliens when it was when they pulled them over for the Mexican basically mule or whatever like that. Coyote. And so there was a lot of reference to immigration in this. Do you feel like this movie was a direct kind of like specific commentary towards that type of thing? Because that was during the 1997, so we are still talking about like possibly George Bush and also Bill Clinton's kind of going out of office at the time. Immigration was an issue still at the time. Do you feel like that was actually a political commentary towards that as well?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I think so.
Gotcha. So
as a way to kind of belittle what, like, the effort that they were doing, because it's just like these people that are kind of coming in, they aren't the dangerous aliens. And it's like, when you think about immigration, when you think about, you know, the border crossings, are there, like, there's terrible people that come that are born, bred, and raised in the US of A. And then there are people that come over the borders that do have that goal of wanting to improve their lives. The cub, it's a bear. Let's try and improve our lives. And so I do think the way that immigrants get painted with that broad brush, you know, having a future president come down the escalator and then say that they send their rapists and all of that over here. I think something like this to kind of counteract that it's a bit of a smart commentary. And I think it was just him basically saying, dog, you have no idea what danger is. Like, just like, y'all, welcome to America. And he spoke pretty good Spanish too.
Yeah, that's how it is. And I think that ultimately the people who are just trying to move to a different area on Earth aren't. How can you hurt something by trying to move to a different area on Earth? It just doesn't make any sense to say it like that. But we draw all these
Yeah.
imaginary borders, and then all of a sudden we get mad when people just want to go to a different place on the planet we all live on. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. And for you to not make it easy for people to come in and then try to actively rebuke them as if they're all the dangerous types of aliens means you don't know what the real danger is.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that was pretty good.
And I don't mean to.
Go ahead.
I don't want to take away from Men in Black, but this is something that happens in the show Warrior that I think me and JC
Yes.
have been on. I don't know if it's in Warrior throughout. It's you have these Irish people just pissed off at the Chinese coming over here. They took her jobs, and it's like not thinking that it ain't the Chinese people's fault. It's these people that are hiring them. It's the capitalists, and it's these people are doing the same thing that y'all did, same thing y'all forefathers did. The cupboards were bare, kids were dying. We need to make money. Let's go to America. And the hypocrisy that still exists with people in that very notion is just frustrating, and it's obvious. It's like you needed help climbing up the ladder, but as soon as you get up the ladder, you want to pull it up so that nobody else can follow your path. Like Clarence Thomas, that coon, wanting to get rid of affirmative action, even though he is a direct beneficiary of affirmative action, how he got the Yale. And then he wants to talk about, it was bad. Fuck you. Anyway, Men in Black. Vincent D'Onofrio, history. What are your thoughts on him as a villain?
Oh yeah, no, I thought it was fantastic. I just thought that like it was he did a fantastic job. I just was thinking about that because the fact that like there was a lot of reference to that with the speech with the Mexicans, and then also on top of that. But Vincent D'Onofrio, I felt like he did a lot of fucking commentary on a lot of shit. But I love the fact that like one big part was he was able to walk around New York unscathed by the idea that he was acting weird and he was fucking actively deteriorating in front of everybody. So how much
That's
he was
New York, baby.
He was deteriorating so badly. That's why I was saying, like, how long did this take? Because he was deteriorating like a motherfucker. And how did that big ass bug fit in that tiny ass body? So it was just like certain shit.
I mean,
like
Vincent D'Onofrio is tall as shit.
I think the reason is because Cell had already came through and sucked people dry. So when they had the idea for the outfit, they're like, all right, wait, oh crap. It's on Dragon Ball, the most popular anime of the time. All right, well, we can't do this, guys. You gotta wear it now.
I thought that was a reference to spiders, because spiders do that. Spiders do that.
But that's how
I got you, Joe.
It sucked everybody out, and they was just their little floppy selves, right?
Yeah. I get you.
They couldn't have bit directly off of it. That was the bit.
Anyway.
Oh no! I got what your joke was. I'm not taking that away from him. I'm sorry. I got what your joke was.
We appreciate the joke, and it was a funny joke, JT.
Yes, it was.
Thank you.
Thanks. I feel so.
That sounds so.
I'll take my.
That sounds so patronizing the way I said that. Yes, I apologize.
I'll be like one day, like, hey,
if you didn't laugh, just I had this friend. Somebody listening will, and that's all.
My bad, sir. I know we can't imagine anyone else in this role, but the other actors who were considered for the role who had to turn it down due to scheduling conflicts. One was John Turturro. He is a very good actor, and I think he could have pulled it off. The other, and I for sure think he would have pulled it off, is Bruce Campbell. Ash Williams would have been able to, especially the physical, like the physical stuff that D'Onofrio was doing. Bruce Campbell would have been able to do that, but I'm glad it was Vincent D'Onofrio. He is a weird looking dude, and he played the role perfectly. Like it is, I don't have any complaints about him in this movie. And honestly, him, Tommy Lee Jones, and Will Smith, I really don't have any major complaints about their performances or how they work. Like they all did a really good job. Let's talk about a couple of the big action scenes that we loved in this movie. So, JT, what would you say is the
okay? Dang. So there you go. He's
best action sequence of the movie, huh?
Yes, best action sequence of the movie, or your or more importantly, your favorite action sequence of the movie.
I really like
Action
the
sequence or
opening
scene.
scene. I like the opening scene of the immigration. That mess cracks me up. I thought it really set the mood, and I thought it was a great introduction to Kay. I really didn't. I really didn't see the old guy thing, but it really let me know that Kay was a badass, and I really appreciated that kind of old school, gruff style that he had, because it seemed like he was a little different than his partner, and he was really heading up the investigation, and his partner was just there to tag along or whatever. So Kay seemed like a capable leader. What I didn't really get until midway through the movie was Kay was actually a pretty capable teacher as well. And he was showing Will Smith a lot of stuff. And when he jumped in that freaking bug mouth to blow him up from the inside later, that mess is crazy.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't really call it an action sequence. You know what I'm saying?
That's why, I changed the question from action to favorite scene of the movie.
See, I would say that, like, I know that it might sound weird, but like, I don't feel like this movie had
great scenes.
Yeah, I don't feel like this had great action. I just felt like there was a couple of bang bangs and that was about it. It wasn't fully like a lot of
that wasn't the I don't think that wasn't the point. I don't think that was the full point of the movie to be bang bang action.
Yeah, I felt like that was they didn't have really a lot of that. It's so, like, you think about it in the context of, like, even the time for them to be able to meet the bug, it took over the span of 8 minutes, right? So they had to save the planet in an hour because they shot a warning shot.
That was a standard galactic week. Get out of here.
Yeah.
That's
fucked up. It was an hour. And so they gave them so by the time Jay,
that is some crackhead timing.
Yeah, that is 8 minutes.
For real.
That is over punctuality. So I felt like this movie really had great scenes of this movie felt
dialogue,
more comedy.
Character interaction.
Yeah, it felt more of like a comedy, and it felt like it was a good movie on commentary, more so than the actual action. The action felt like it kind of fell behind all of the actual conversation that happened, which I think that's what this movie did better than a lot of fucking movies in the 90s, and especially those sci-fi movies, is the fact that they did a lot better when it came to me understanding who those characters were and then what this organization was about in the midst of a few hours. So I don't feel like the action was there. I just felt like it was just a few moments. Right. Go ahead. What you said, JT?
I think you're right. It's an actionless action movie. Where there's not many. Fair point. It's a fair point where it's like not very big explosion. Like, it's not Independence Day. It's not Bad Boys for Will Smith movie references, but it's more of, okay, these are some high points that happen with drama, but then it's mostly about character stuff.
Yeah.
And that's a fair point. For me, going back to what that scene JT said in the beginning, with just establishing who Kay is, when he told that cop, "Don't serve me."
Yes, I agree.
That is a strong thing to say to somebody, like, "Don't serve me." Like, yes. All right, I ain't gonna say nothing to you. For me, one scene that always tickles me, there's a lot of scenes that I love in this movie. It's when Jay is at the academy and they're doing the test, and he shoots the stand out of the white girl, and he explains it, and it's like, you know what? That's actually, I kind of feel him. It's like, why is this little girl out here like Troy in Crooklyn? It's midnight and she in the ghetto with quantum physics. Why is she out here? Yeah, shoot her. Like, she's up to something.
But that's what I say. I felt like that the immigration commentary. This movie was about commentary about immigration. This movie had a lot of commentary on this because what's the thing that he was saying? Well, I thought he was snarling and everything like that, but that's what
he's sneezing.
He's sneezing, and that's what a police officer
he just pumping iron. How would I feel if I'm in the gym and somebody shot me?
Yes, that shows a police officer that knows his beat and knows his neighborhood. That's what that was, and
that's why it worked.
Yeah, so like if you would have saw, that means that Jay would have never shot Mikey at the very beginning. So that means that Jay would have never shot him. That means that Mikey would have had to been able to have that same dialogue that K and D had at the very beginning with Mikey.
Well, K and D weren't going to shoot Mikey; they were just going to arrest him. But then,
exactly, that's my point.
Fucking Gomer Pyle had to come over and mess everything up.
Yeah, but I think that reaction that police officer that police officer had at the very end, where he was like screaming, I'm threatened. I mean, that only happened because of the fact that this is a white dude that don't know his beat, that he don't know his environment. And so with that, I would just say that
Earth is his environment.
Yeah, and it's the Earth is his environment. He doesn't know it. It's I'm sorry. So I felt like this movie was a commentary throughout the whole time. I was like, man, this movie survives for a different reason versus what it actually shows. You think about Mikey got shot. It took one shot for him to get killed. You just had a long running scene towards him. You had Edgar, the original, I'm going to say Edgar OG.
Edgar.
He get, fuck, Jamel. He keeps, Edgar. Version 1, he pulls out his shotgun and says like, hey, you're going to have to take it over my cold dead body. And then you had the bug just take his body. That's it.
That is fuck around and find out perfectly exemplified. It's like, exactly. All right, you could have just put the gun down and not gone out there, but not. Yeah. You want to be okay.
So and then you had,
these parameters are acceptable.
Then you had the actual scene where you had the royalty guy who had Orion's belt. He got stabbed in the neck so fucking quick, like it doesn't matter. They both got folded real quickly.
That is also a fuck around and find out situation. Instead of them being like, hey, maybe we should leave the planet, immediately this fool was just like, nah, let's have lunch. Let's have some Peru.
I would argue that technically one of the top actual fight scenes is the one that you still didn't see, but actually feels like a realistic situation, which was between Edgar and the tow truck driver. Where he pulls out the fucking shotgun.
And you don't want it.
You don't want none.
Come on.
Yeah. I'd say that probably arguably is the best fight scene because I heard so many motherfuckers when he said, come on, right there. Like, I heard all of the argument right there. That was it.
Again, fuck around and find out. He pulls out the shotgun, you pull out the blick, and you don't like all the way pull it out. That was the mistake on the tow truck driver. He should have just pulled the gun out all the way.
Right.
Instead of, see, look what I got, and then go back to doing his job.
Right. Turn around.
But I wonder if he. That's why I said that's like a cut scene I need to see because I feel like that tow truck driver put up a bigger fight than would show.
Right? Yeah. Because he was immediately out of the picture.
Quick.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Like we didn't see him again.
Yeah. How did Edgar take that gun so quickly right after that? Because that gun must have did some damage to Edgar.
Because that would have built up the fear of the villain. We
yes.
didn't really get that, so it's just like he a joke. But he got him. We really and you know, Kay was running around all scared.
Yes.
And I didn't really feel the need to be scared of this bug. But like if we had kind of seen more of the carnage, you know, a la Cell, that mess would have hit a little harder and you would have been like this is that dude. Wow, these aliens really came to go through us, thinking that we just, you know, squishy endoskeleton types.
So
we didn't get that.
So I think that it hurt the character, but I think that it benefited the movie because this movie was fucking like
he was discounted to keep it going.
Yeah, it was an hour 30, boom, in and out of that bitch.
This was a very short film.
90. Wow, remember when movies used to be 90 minutes and you were happy when the movie? It's now every fucking movie is 2 hours and 2.5. You got your money's worth.
You just mad because your butt cheeks be sore by the time the movie's done. That's
man. That felt like the best
2.5 hours.
The most.
You gotta get you one of them purple cushions, bro.
I felt like I got more substance out of that movie than I got out of Ant-Man, Shazam. I'm talking about
so much more story, wasn't it?
So much more substance out of that, and
Weird.
I would say my
cared back then. That's the difference.
My only big gripe
writing,
like
performance.
Everybody didn't realize how this man decomposing. Like I felt like some of the shit was very much so plot armor. Like the guy fighting.
I think it's more of you just don't notice crazy shit in New York. You see crazy shit in New York all the time. So a nigga literally decomposing in front of you is just like, fuck it, it's Tuesday and I'm in Harlem. Like, what's going on? Like, I think that was more of it, but I do completely get your point. Where it's like, wow, this dude is literally falling apart and he's wearing a skin suit, and yet nobody really fucking cares.
Yeah, this would have been simple if the wife would have called 911 in the first time I've seen her husband walk inside the house, because you clearly see his face.
She actually did, and she said that they told her that she was crazy and then moved on. Like, bitch, and then moved on. Like, they probably didn't call her bitch. They were just like, ma'am, your husband isn't being worn as a skin suit, and then they left. Like, that was the whole scene at the farm where she kept saying, Edgar, I know Edgar, and that wasn't Edgar. Like, she kept talking like that, and she did say that, hey, the police did do an investigation.
Yeah, man, shit, I don't know. It felt like some people was dropping some shit. So, with that, man, my last part.
What did y'all think of Dr. Laurel Weaver, played by
Dr. White and Dr. Black? Dr. White and Mr. Black.
That is the most the simplest shit. I need to come up with a dumb name for my partner, Mr. White. That leads me to think that,
but that was right after
K and D when they were partners. Yeah, called him Mr. Black, then switched to Dr. White. That leads me to believe that K might have been that D and K came up with their own names. K and D was a little bit quicker with coming up with a fake last name, and he was just like, all right, this is a rookie. Fuck it, Mr. Black. I don't give a shit. Like, lady, what's with this book? But Linda Fiorentino, Dr. Laurel Weaver, the medical examiner, and the future Agent L by the end of the movie. Well, quickly, what did y'all think of her? Because there's some shit in her personal life that I wanted to touch on really quickly. But what did y'all think of her character in this movie?
She was passable.
Yeah, I was okay with her.
Make the movie.
Yeah, I felt like she didn't exist for the purpose of the movie being better. I can see where like she was the eye candy for the film. I'm okay with her just existing just long enough. Man, they made her like a hooker. They made her look like a fucking straight like hoe with some of the dialogue. Like she wanted to fuck the shit out of Will Smith.
Oh, because a woman's sexually independent and liberated. Yeah. She's got to be a hooker, a hoe. That's a shame. Anyway,
they were making her look down bad. Oh my god.
The thing that I wanted to bring up about her is that she basically stops acting in 2009. So later on in her life, she had a relationship with an LA private investigator by the name of Anthony Pellicano. He's one of those Hollywood fixer types. Like he gets shit done, sort of like Trump's fixer. Then she dated an former FBI agent. In 2009, the FBI agent actually pled guilty to illegally accessing FBI computers during the prosecution of a man, Pellicano. And law enforcement officers actually discovered that Fiorentino, she wanted to help his defense. She wanted to help him out. And according to the prosecutors, she actually started dating the FBI prosecutor, told him that she was researching a screenplay based on the man's case, and she got him to hand her over. He handed over evidence to her. So the FBI dude actually was getting played by Linda to get her old flame out of jail. So yeah, it didn't work because my man got a 15-year sentence, but yeah, that was just fascinating. That is a fascinating detail about this actress. And again, she's just pretty much vanished out of Hollywood since then.
Fuck, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's a lot.
So before we get into the final details and wrap up our review of Men in Black, were there any other side characters that you guys really liked throughout the movie? That we got to see some of the other characters, maybe some of the aliens that y'all kind of got a kick out of?
Frank was the most important person. I felt like Rip Torn was there. He existed. He talked, but I felt like Rip Torn was only cool for a few seconds, and there's a reason why he got removed for the rest of the fucking films. Outside of him,
We're
wilding
not
the fuck
hosting
out.
an intergalactic hacker.
Yeah, he was not important in that in the film. Um, I would say Frank the dog was the most important thing. The obvious. I'm not gonna tell you nothing.
Shake that fuck.
And just straight animal abuse.
Hey,
Shut up, that
you
dog.
see Will Smith?
That mess was hilarious.
Jay was like, whoa, be careful. He was telling Kay to chill the fuck out in public.
Then somebody walked by. He's like, "Hey, the dog owes my partner money."
He shook the shit out of Frank.
JT, what about you?
What was the question?
Who's the most important?
Any other side characters that you got a kick out of, or aliens that you really like the design of?
I like Jeeves. He was funny.
That was gonna be my pick.
You know, it was one of them things that I thought Will Smith looked stupid trying to be the tough guy in that scene. And I kind of wanted Will Smith to realize that he was above his, it's like shit got real and it was too real and maybe freaked him out a little bit. And that's why he got flashed off of night one.
Yeah.
But it was really kind of weird. He was in disbelief. So what's the point of flashing him if you're just going to bring him in tomorrow? It didn't make no sense.
I said that same thing.
These
I wrote
fucking
that
assholes out here are firing fucking fireworks again.
I wrote that as a fucking note. I said, bro, if you're gonna flash, why not? But I think that there was a reason why. I think that they wanted him to be as oblivious and abstract for the test itself. Yeah. So I think that it was important for the purpose of him getting past Rip Torn's character more so than it was for the actual purpose of moving the story along, or at least being active duty for K in the long run. But I thought the same thing. I was like, if you're gonna invite him anyway, why fucking flash him?
I imagine they did that with the other recruits as well. Like they all had some weird ass alien encounter, and then they were like, okay, let's flash him and then invite them to the thing. Like I totally get what y'all were saying.
When he got flashed the first time, when Will Smith got flashed the first time, and they were at the Chinese restaurant or whatever, I think that should have been the time where Kay was telling him his actual story. You know what I mean? But they kind of skipped over that, and all they had to do was add another 2 minutes of dialogue, not even a minute of dialogue, maybe, of just Kay giving a sob story about, how his wife, he up and left, and she don't know what's wrong. All she knows is, his body is being taken care of, and she's lonely. And that would have been a whole thing. And he could have really just knocked that out. Then later on, when he's looking at her, he done told you that he misses this woman. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That would have just led into the character just a tiny bit more. But that's just me being picky.
No. But I think that also kind of going into what Jamel was asking. I think it also discredits with the story because of the fact that like Kay remembered his previous life. Mm-hmm. So for him to remember his previous life, that means that he did not get flashed at all.
Right. So why would he do that to Will?
So I felt like that was kind of like an important thing, that needed to be kind of like flashed back to, unless if they want to use the plot armor of like, oh, well, they flashed away a day from him, and then I guess maybe, but even then he still remembered the picture as soon as he seen it. That guy brought him flowers and he knew exactly what it was. So
it could also be that the neuralizer wasn't invented when Kay first joined Men in Black. Like that wasn't a thing. That could also be, and that's one thing that I do like about this movie is that mystery, is that there's still a lot of mystery in this one. And I personally feel this, along with The Matrix and Ghostbusters, are one of those movies where it's just like, we kind of only needed one of these, like one, and then we move on to do something different. But they had to make these, make it a franchise. And
one in the cartoon. That's all I feel.
With the exception of the Men in Black cartoon, I will defend the Men in Black cartoon as an underrated, underappreciated gem. But Men in Black 2, there's no purpose of it. Men in Black 3 actually works a little bit because I think Will Smith and Josh Brolin had really good chemistry in that one, but that was unnecessary. And of course, Men in Black International, aka Thor and Valkyrie, are now alien hunting motherfuckers.
Dog,
like that was
I
just it was
skipped.
bad.
I skipped it. I didn't even watch it.
I seen it in the theater.
It deserved to be skipped.
Thank you,
It deserved
AMC, the A-list membership. I saw that movie on my third movie of the week, and yeah, I did not go back to that motherfucker. So with that, Jamel, do me a favor, man. Explain away our actual rating system, please.
Well, let me get into one last thing. A little bit of background on the movie just to wrap things up. The movie did incredibly well. It was made on a budget of $90 million and made back $589 million at the box office, becoming the third highest grossing movie of 1997. You're thinking, wow, 500 million, and that was the third highest grossing movie. Well, here are the two higher grossing movies: The Lost World, Jurassic Park, the sequel to Jurassic Park. So yeah, that makes sense. And Titanic. So yeah,
Titanic.
Duh. And it's the ninth highest grossing movie of the 1990s, only being beaten out by The Lost World. It's ahead of Armageddon, beaten out by The Lost World at number 8, Sixth Sense at number 7, Forrest Gump at number 6, Lion King at number 5, Independence Day at number 4, number 3, the original Jurassic Park, number 2, The Phantom Menace, and number 1, Titanic. So this movie did incredibly well. Of course, spawned a franchise unnecessarily. The cartoon was great on Kids WB. Rick Baker actually picked up an Oscar for Best Makeup. Vincent D'Onofrio picked up a Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actor, and Danny Elfman picked up a Saturn Award for Best Score. And Danny Elfman missed out on the Best Original Music Score of this movie because he lost out to The Full Monty. So yeah, the 1990s were a great period for movies, and this one, it is for me, it is a gem. So with that being said, let's get to the ratings. As y'all know, the Historical Voices from the East Side, we have our own rating scale. We have winners, that's the highest rank that a movie can go, followed by edger. Then we have a slumper, sleeper, and then the dumpster. And the rare occasion, one of us will pull out a rat ass, such as a movie that I mentioned earlier in the show. I don't even remember what movie I called rat ass, but yes, rat ass. That is, it's not official, but it's official. So
we just added a rating.
With that being said, JT, what say you? What say you? What rating would you give Men in Black from 1997?
This movie is not perfect, but it's definitely a winner. If you want to throw on a good classic film, Men in Black, with its practical effects, largely practical effects, stands up. And I really think that the humor was pretty timeless. You know, you don't have too many dated jokes, and it was just really about the situations. So a good movie that stands on its own, and it surprisingly well holds up.
HisStory, what say you?
So I actually gave this an edger. I gave it a high edger. So kind of going into what JT said, I felt like this movie wasn't perfect. So I felt like if it wasn't gonna be perfect, then give it a fucking edger. I felt like there are
9 out of 10 for me, you know.
Yeah, so that's so I'm basing off of that. So it's 4.5 for me. It's not a 5 for me.
But a 4.5 doubled is 9, which made it a winner, which is why I had to go a winner.
It's my it's a winner. It's an edger.
4.5 though, by our own system.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying. So with that, I would say it felt like a 4 out of 5 star. There's only a reason being it's because of the fact that like it would be a winner for me if it was not dated as a film. I would say young me who watched this was super excited about this, perfect winner. But I think that like this movie sometimes get plagued by the fact of like ratings, which ratings did go down over the course of a few years. So parts that I just don't like is the fact that like I felt like Will Smith acting still kind of come off subpar. Some of the storyline does not make sense and connect together. So, for example, the flashing when you about to invite him back to the actual MIB. The fact that like the I'm a strong woman kind of like speech that we had with your girl, that felt like commentary that just kind of just fucking lost a lot of the flavor of the movie, lost the momentum of the movie. The whole my partners was saggy in the midsection. It felt funny, but it felt like it was lost momentum. When he walks in the middle of the actual store and he said, "What's up, pops?" I felt like that was a lost moment. That was supposed to be a moment that was supposed to be a joke. If you're gonna show me that scene, then we need to capitalize off of that scene. And they had a lot of filler scenes that could have been taken away. So I think honestly, this movie probably would have been closer to an hour, 10 minutes long if it wasn't for some of these fillers. So with that makes it a edger for me, man, because I know that there's a lot of fillers in there.
For me, this is unquestionably a winner. I have a lot of nostalgia in this movie, and even if I didn't have the nostalgia with the movie of watching this on VHS a lot, I would still think it's a winner. I think it's an example of a good movie that's like standalone quality. We get introduced to this world, we get introduced to these characters, and yet it still has mystery. And it's one of those things where it's like, man, we shouldn't have gone back to the mystery. But between the performances of Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones, and especially Vincent D'Onofrio, like he deserves a ton of praise for his performance in this movie. The effects the practical ones, especially, that still hold up across the movie, and just it being a good time. Like, this is a good time of a movie. Like, you can still pop this on and you can have fun with it, like it's 1997. And for me, it's definitely a winner. It's one of Will Smith's, like, it's a go-to movie for me. When I think of Will Smith, it's a go-to for me. So yeah, I'd say it's a winner. And overall, with two winners and an edger, this is probably the best group reviewed movie that we've had in a long while, because it's in a month. A solid ass film.
Good one.
Oh no, I'm lying.
What happens when it nosedives next week?
No. Next, no,
JT, you're picking the movie next week. What is our movie next week?
Oh, I have a special one for you. Next week is going to be Megiddo, the Omega Code 2.
Send the name of that movie. Send the name of that movie.
It is a 2001 Christian production, and they tried to basically take the Book of Revelation and use the Omega Code to make an action film.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. And I want to see you people go. Their claim to fame was it had more special effects than The Matrix.
That's not a good thing.
Not necessarily, no. But I want y'all to watch this film, because this is a film that I grew up on, and I'm happy to force it on y'all.
No, don't say that. I grew up on it too, man. My family was religious. I was raised
you know this one? You know this one?
I know this film. I know this John Hagee films. I know those John yeah.
Is that a Hagee film?
I want to say he's a Hagee.
So HisStory. We've got a couple more weeks of the blockbusters, because the week after you are going to be selecting our film. So I hope you give us a good one, because I'm now worried about the thing that JT is going to make us watch.
I don't pick a film until October, baby. I don't pick a. September.
Oh shit!
I pick a TV show.
Ah shit! JT's
not picking nothing until October. It's you and JT until September, man.
Goddamn, JT's got 2 weeks in a row.
We need to pick a TV show now so we can watch it, because it's going to be a while.
Fuck. Somebody has to do the Warrior. One of us has to do the Warrior.
Come on now. If I say Frasier, how y'all gonna get through all 8 seasons or whatever?
Well, September we are going back to school. We are going to be doing that's also tying into it. September, so we might as well discuss this over the air since we're still live. So, folks, starting in September, we're going to be incorporating more TV shows into our reviews, similar to what we did last week with Black Mirror. That was a good testing round for that. So we're gonna start incorporating TV shows into the mix. And September is also that back to school time, so we're gonna try and tie that in. I'm gonna announce my pick now for September so that you guys can start getting in the mindset of getting into that frame. We're gonna be doing a modern classic, the first season of Abbott Elementary. That is gonna be the first TV show full season review that we're doing in September. It's one that we should all enjoy. So keep that in mind and be ready to talk about Abbott Elementary in September. So
I'm not going to be ready to talk about Abbott Elementary until September, bro. That's a lot on my plate that I don't need to hang on to for a couple months.
With that,
go wait till September.
With that,
so just so y'all know, Abbott Elementary is my pick in September. So y'all know.
With that. I don't know.
Also, we were Men in Black. I meant to mention that we were all wearing black shirts today, and we were reviewing Men in Black, and it was just like, oh, coincidence.
Yes.
History, lead us home.
So whoever said I got that Cancer energy, do not know when my birthday actually is, but that's okay. So I am loud and proud about a lot of things in life. I am definitely not a Cancer. So with that, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your audio acoustical pleasures from. Also check out our other podcast, which is Fuck Around and Find Out, as well as also I Don't Know Irrelevancy, which I host with the homie Jamel Watson down there. We the ones out there. Get it? Because the IOI. Okay. All right. With that, you can definitely check out our podcast wherever you get your podcast from. Make sure that you hit a like and a subscribe. Share with us. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think about the podcast, and then also tell us your rating. Remember, winner, edger, slumper, sleeper, dumpster. Winner, edger, slumper, sleeper, dumpster. Make sure you tell us that. It's out of 5-star rating. Also, on top of that, you can find Jamel at Jamel 727. Again, that is Jamel. It's Jamel W, right? Or Jamel 727.
Jamel 727 on Instagram and Eastside Reviews on YouTube.
Dog, I just wanted to let y'all know that the Historical Voices from the East Side has a rating system which spells out West Side.
Stop.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
It does. It does.
We've been doing this for like a year with this shit. Just now realize. West Side.
So we the Historical Voices from the East Side pick it out who's for the West Side.
Movies from the West Side.
All right, I get it.
Hey, Snoop Dogg. Here's the thing: Snoop Dogg reps the West Coast, and he was a part of a group called the East Side Boys, or the East Siders.
That is true. Yeah.
It happens.
All right, with that, man, definitely like, subscribe, and then follow us. We also do a Facebook group as well. Join that Facebook group, which is under Historical Voices from the East Side podcast. When we get chaotic, when we have like crazy losses, when we start running a business, even though it downfalls and fails terribly, so we decide, oh, the backlash is just too bad, so we got to actually cease and desist the actual actions of our actual business, as well as also when we get some sense knocked into us, unfortunately, because of the fact that we were just trying to have a good moment in that day. We decided to turn to the voice of reasons to guide us, to be able to help us just crawl through those situations and be able to actually just expose ourselves like Keke Palmer does when she sees Usher. So with that, JT, give us the voice of reason. Give us a voice of reason so we won't feel like time off the Boondocks, which Keke Palmer boyfriend apparently feels like right now.
Then they're going to be singing Let It Burn in the streets.
I feel like a movie like Men in Black lets you know that there's a whole world out there that you're just unaware of. And when you learn that there is all of these things going around you, it's like when you were a kid and you realized that people at the church cussed. You know what I'm saying? The whole world was different. You're like, wait a minute, y'all cuss when you're not here? Really? Y'all are some different people than I thought. I think it's kind of interesting how that happens in life. Sometimes you go through life and you're doing things okay, but really you're messing up. And if you're the only one who doesn't know that you're okay, because you're gonna have a group full of people who will pull you to the side and call you out, then you are really a lonely person. You going through life thinking you do everything right, and that's not the whole way. This is why you gotta have some people in your corner. I'm happy to have these fine gentlemen here sit here and talk about media with me. I think it's much more fun than hearing me go on about it. But when you have a movie like Men in Black, it reminds me that there are just structures and systems out there that some of us are just unaware of. And one of the reasons we're unaware of people is because we simply don't know who they are. We know who they present themselves to. We haven't been, in a place where we can be open and honest with some of our people who may not necessarily be our friends yet. Me, I like to be open and honest with everybody. It's funny when you see, people recoil from your honesty. Why are you talking to me? Oh, because I think you can have a good day too. I think you're worth holding a conversation too. And just to talk to people like they're a real person. Had a little chat with Kat here today. And just talking to people like they matter really makes some people's day, especially when they're just feeling like a frog in the wheel. Just to remind them that they're a person and have a little humanity. And I think that's the way that you can get people in your neighborhood to stop feeling like aliens. Have a conversation with them. Know who these people are. Pay attention. Pay them mind. Make sure that you can make some friends. Now, do me a favor, y'all. I want you to think of any podcast that's not historical voices from the East Side, and look right here.
Oh, well, shit! Can't do that too quick, man. Come on. You should be warning me next time. Just give me the warning. Don't be flashing everybody.
Never flashy things before, probably.
I don't flash everybody just like that.
I think so. I mean, you did drop
Feed your brain, brother.
We don't know what it was sent to, so I thought it was.
Well, at least
History, you knew about this coming.